plenary session is a crucial platform for transformative dialogue, for constructive ideas and concrete actions, where discussions are driven not just by the urgency of the present, but also by the responsibility of the future generations. We are grateful to have you here with us in this important dialogue. We have Honorable Dr. Arju Rana Dioba, Minister for Foreign Affairs of Nepal, as the chair of this plenary session. May I please request everyone to welcome our chair with a
Excellencies, this Sambaad is a global platform for solidarity, for sharing knowledge, and for sharing partnerships across borders. The time for isolated efforts is over. What we need now is our collective resolve. This platform is meant to urge the global community to come together with a shared commitment to protect our mountains and secure a sustainable future for all, drawing inspiration from the mighty Sagarmatha. Climate change does not recognize borders, nor should our solutions. With these opening lines, I now turn to the distinguished speakers of this plenary session, whom we are eager to listen to. Before I invite this first speaker, let me spell out a few points about today's proceedings in line with the general rules and procedures of international conferences. The list of speakers is based on protocol and alphabetical order. Each speaker will have 5 minutes to deliver the statement, and considering the time limit of this session, and at the end of 4 minutes, there will be an indication of 1 minute remaining, and the speaker may wish to wrap up the statement. However, I request the respective delegations to provide the full written statement to document at sagarmathasambaad.org for due reflection and record. Now I go on to invite the speakers. I would now like to invite the first speaker of the session, Her Excellency Ms. Sharmeen Sonaya Murshid, Advisor for the Ministry of Social Welfare and the Ministry of Women and Children Affairs, People's Republic of Bangladesh, and Her Excellency will be followed by Bhutan. Thank you. Please.
Distinguished guests, a very good morning. I was wondering, as I was preparing for my speech here today, what could I say that you already did not know? What could I add to this anguished story of climate change that you are not already aware of? A very knowledgeable audience who have been working in this sector. I fear I cannot add too much new. We know that we need to keep the temperature at below 1.5 degrees Celsius. We all know that 2023 saw the highest intensity of carbon concentration in our atmosphere, recorded the highest in 800,000 years. We know that 2024 global mean sea level rise reached a record high, that ocean heat was at its highest. What can I add to that? Glacier mass loss from 21 to 24 represents the most negative 3-year glacier mass balance. Let me stop. We can go on, but the trend intensifies. While Nepal is in panic, Bangladesh knows the consequences of a mountain, a disappearing mountain, and what significance it has for my country downstream, a little delta, a cusp, a cup that holds all the waters of the rivers of the region and is a safe passage for those rivers to flow into the ocean. This is a story, I fear, that is as old as fire and as recent as plastic. It is a turning point in our life. And I wonder, the message I'd like to give is the anguish that we live through. They say the mountains are eternal. But now, even they are melting. Glaciers, once ancient and unmoving, now flow like tears down the weathered face. We thought we stood above it all, masters of the earth, the makers of machines. We burned the bones of the planet to light our cities and chase our dreams, and in doing so we forgot that we belong to the earth and not apart from it. Forgot that every breath we take is borrowed, every step we tread on the soil of the earth is a prayer. This is not just a climate crisis, it is a spiritual crisis. Forgetting a relationship, an old relationship of reverence. But the story is not finished. We are still breathing, we are still able to choose. We can be the generation that remembers, that listens to the wind again, that walks gently in the shadow of mountains, not to conquer, but to bow. The earth does not need our pity, it needs our presence. And if we return to it fully, humbly, the future will remember us as the generation that turned time around. And why I speak in this language is because I don't have any other language to explain how vulnerable we as a region have become. One mountain, one river, one people. When the ice breaks in the high Himalayas, it does not ask permission before it flows. It does not stop at borders. It melts. And far below, in the flat deltas of Bangladesh, a mother lifts her child above the rising tide. This is the truth. The earth teaches us the atmosphere is shared, the rivers are shared, the future is shared. We survive only when we work together, like forests that root and rise as one, like birds that migrate in coordinated arcs, like cells in a single living body. The melting mountains are not just a warning. They are a call to cooperation, to compassion, to courage. I believe that's my call, but may I have just a minute to say a last word. So a call to the region before the water rises, to the nations beneath the same sky: Nepal, Bhutan, India, Bangladesh, China, Pakistan. The floods do not care for flags. The droughts do not wait for policy. When the glacier breaks, it does not check your passport. It flows, destroys, and devours. And yet still we act like it's someone else's problem. We are not blind. We cannot turn away anymore. We need joint monitoring. We need early warnings that cross borders. We need shared water governance, shared science, shared courage. I know we have it, and yet we do not. This is not the time of ego. It is a time for alliance, and the earth is already negotiating, and we must respond, not as competitors, but as co-inhabitants of a region that will only survive through solidarity. Thank you so much.
That was so poetic.
Sorry, I took a little more time.
Thank you. That was very soul-touching. Now I'd like to invite His Excellency Jem Chiring, Minister for Energy and Natural Resources, Royal Government of Bhutan. Excellency, you have the floor.
Let's Kuzuzambol. So, first and foremost, I, on behalf of the Royal Government of Bhutan, His Majesty the King, Prime Minister, and people of Bhutan, to thank Nepal for calling us all together to look into the high Everest. Now, as it is, we are all into a country where Your Excellencies, that Nepal, the highest mountain in the world, at the place where Lord Buddha has been born, and then a Himalayan range where we are all connected together. So that's all good thing that we are dragged into. And then today, I thank Prime Minister, Mr. Oli, then the members of the Parliament, the Government of Nepal, for arranging such a discussion that climate change. So we are every time saying that nevertheless, we never heard of climate change, of global warming some decades ago, but then now we are experiencing, now particularly Bhutan, Nepal, we are rich in hydro, but then lately we realize that there is something called global warming and climate change, due to which we are facing the trouble. And of course, exactly as we are all here to discuss on this, and then thereby we also got to know that how Himalayas are playing a vital role in the life of the people. Now there, I think climate change has lots to do with the mountains than to the humanity. So climate change definitely. So we are into the climate change, and then the looking into the global warming, and then other aspects also, whereby I'm very happy to inform the floor here that last year in November, so when COP29 in Baku was held, so that time Bhutan has been declared as carbon negative. So due to which we are very happy to inform that while these challenges are there, we are all fighting for the betterment, and then give a very strong element to the environment concern. So by virtue, I think everyone understands that Bhutan depends on GNH concept, thereby, so we are totally depending on the environment, where environment is put on the forefront by the then fourth king. So as the king of the Bhutan, when he stepped into, he said that I depend on gross national happiness, due to which one of the pillars is the environment. So that is where we are very much into, and then forest coverage also. By constitution itself, he has mentioned there that we got to be 60% forest covered, but then very happy to inform the floor here that Bhutan not only 60%, but then we have 69% forest covered, and then also we are rich into hydro. So these days, now I think Nepal has brought this topic right in the nick of time, where we need to play a vital role, whereby climate has lots to do with the mountains, mountains has lot to do with the human being. So that's why I think humanity concern is also very much we have to look into. Thereby, I think where we expect lots of glacier outburst has never been experienced long time back, but today this is a vital thing. So I think with which, just to inform that we are very much part and portion of this discussion, so we are there for it. Thank you very much, Madam.
Thank you. Thank you, Excellency. Thank you for your great statement. Excellencies, we have with us several country delegations and representatives of international and regional organizations to share their important perspectives. We have an important guest with us here today who is actually supposed to be speaking under the regional and international organizations segment, but however, due to a very pressing event that she has to attend in Thailand, I would like to take your permission to invite her in this very segment. So I would like to invite Her Excellency Ms. Armida Salcia Alice Jabana, Under Secretary General of the United Nations and Executive Secretary of the Economic and Social Commission for Asia and Pacific, to kindly deliver her remarks. Thank you, ma'am.
Honorable Dr. Arzu Ranadoiba, Minister for Foreign Affairs of Nepal, as well as Chair of the session, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, I would like to congratulate the organizers of Sagarmatha Sambaad for convening this dialogue at a time when the urgency of climate action has never been more acute. The International Year of Glacier Preservation gives us a timely opportunity to raise awareness of the vulnerability of mountains and glaciers and prompt these urgent human actions needed. Excellencies, the Asia-Pacific region is home to 44% of the world's glaciers outside the Arctic ice sheets. The third pole is often referred to as the water tower of Asia. It stores more ice and snow than any region outside the North and South Poles, and is the origin of more than 10 major river systems. While the effects of warming vary across the third pole's geographies, glacier melt has intensified, especially along the rich diversity of ecosystems and species of the Himalayan mountain range, leading to the emergence of multi-hazard risk hotspots. Recognizing this risk, Member States last month at the 81st session of the Commission session adopted a resolution on strengthening cooperation on the water and climate nexus. The resolution noted with concern the retreat of glaciers, permafrost thaw, mass ice loss, and the shrinking extent and duration of snow cover. It also called for enhanced regional and international collaboration to address these interconnected challenges. In this context, I would like to highlight 3 key areas for action. First, we must strengthen cooperation on the water and climate nexus grounded in science. The Third Pole Regional Climate Center Network, a science-led initiative launched by member states, including Nepal, in June 2024, provides a unique framework for regional and sub-regional cooperation. It is supported by WMO in partnership with ESCAP, ICIMOD, and other institutions. We then need to scale and deepen partnership and dialogue. The Himalaya and Hindu Kush call to action, led by ICIMOD and endorsed through a ministerial declaration in 2020, is a promising step forward. Among the issues identified in the declaration, investment in data systems are essential as investment in physical infrastructure. Data collection, analysis, and cross-country sharing enabled by innovation in geospatial and digitally driven AI application are critical for science-informed action. And finally, we must foster a shift in mindset across all levels of society that transform how we value and manage water. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Excellency, and thank you for making a statement, and have a safe journey back. And next, I would like to request Honorable Mr. Ain Bahadur Shahi Thakuri, Minister for Forest and Environment of Nepal, to deliver his statement followed by the United Kingdom. Excellency, you have the floor.
यस सत्रको सभाध्यक्षता गरिरहनुभएका माननीय परराष्ट्र मन्त्री डाक्टर आरजू राणा देउबाज्यू, माननीय मन्त्रीज्यूहरू, महामहिमज्यूहरू, विशिष्ट प्रतिनिधिहरू, भद्र महिला तथा सज्जनवृन्द, सगरमथा संवादको यस पूर्ण सत्रमा उपस्थित विशिष्ट महानुभावहरूको अवसरमा सम्बोधन गर्ने यो अवसरमा मेरो लागि ठुलो सम्मान र गर्वको विषय ठानेको छु। आज हामी गहिरो विश्वव्यापी सङ्कटको सामना गर्नुपर्ने अवस्थाको छेडमा जलवायु परिवर्तन, हिमाल र मानव जातिको भविष्य विषयमा महत्त्वपूर्ण संवादका लागि उपस्थित भएका छौँ। यस विषयको संवाद आयोजना गर्न समयानुकूल, क्षमता, सामर्थ्यता र प्रकृतिको बुद्धिमत्ताको स्थायी प्रकृतिको रूपमा रहेको विश्वको सर्वोच्च शिखर सगरमाथाको फेदी भन्दा अर्को उपयुक्त स्थान हुन सक्दैन भन्ने मलाई विश्वास छ। महामहिमज्यूहरू, विशिष्ट प्रतिनिधिज्यूहरू, विश्वका 14 मध्ये 8 वटा अग्ला हिमालहरू भएको भूमि नेपालले यी प्राकृतिक धरोहरहरूको संरक्षण गर्ने पवित्र जिम्मेवारी वहन गर्दै आएको छ। मानव जातिको लागि 5 भागको 1 भागलाई ताजा पानी, जैविक विविधता र आध्यात्मिक जीवन शक्ति प्रदान गर्दै आएको तेस्रो ध्रुवको रूपमा परिचित क्षेत्रको हिस्साका रूपमा हाम्रा हिमालहरू रहेका छन्। यी हिमालहरू केवल भव्य मात्र छैनन्, हाम्रा अत्यावश्यक जलवायु नियामक समेत रहिआएका छन्। तथापि तिनीहरू हाल द्रुत गतिमा बढ्दो जलवायु आपतकालको अग्रपन्थीमा रहेका छन्। हाम्रो आँखै अगाडि हिमाली परिदृश्यहरू रूपान्तरण हुँदै गइरहेका छन्। हिमनदीहरू घट्दैछन्, पारिस्थितिक प्रणालीहरू बदलिँदैछन्, परम्परागत जीवनशैलीहरू उल्टिँदैछन्। जलवायु सूचकहरूले खतराको सीमा पार गरिरहेका छन्। विश्व मौसम विज्ञान सङ्गठनका अनुसार सन् 2024 विगत 175 वर्षकै सबैभन्दा तातो वर्ष रहेको थियो। पर्वतीय क्षेत्रहरूको तापक्रम विश्वव्यापी औसतभन्दा दोब्बरले वृद्धि हुँदै गइरहेको कुरा जलवायु परिवर्तन सम्बन्धी अन्तरसरकारी प्यानल आइपिसिसीले को 6औं मूल्याङ्कन प्रतिवेदनले पुष्टि गरिसकेको छ। हामीले विगत 3 वर्षमा हालसम्मको सबैभन्दा धेरै हिमाच्छादित क्षेत्र गुमाएका छौँ। विगत 2 दशकको तुलनामा समुद्र सतह द्रुत गतिमा बढिरहेको छ। यस्ता धेरै परिवर्तनहरू उल्ट्याउन नसकिने किसिमका छन्। हिमनदीहरू घट्दै जानेदेखि हिमतालहरू फुट्ने, हिम पहिरो, बाढी र बदलिँदो जलचक्रहरूसम्मका जलवायु परिवर्तनका नकारात्मक परिणामहरू व्याप्त भएका छन्। हिममण्डलहरू अभूतपूर्व जोखिममा छन्। यसले पानीका सुक्खा प्रणाली र क्षेत्रीय स्थायित्वलाई खतरामा पारेको छ। नेपालका लागि यी जोखिमहरू विशेष रूपमा गम्भीर रहेका छन्। हामीमध्ये सबैभन्दा जोखिममा रहेका साना किसानहरू, महिला, आदिवासी जनजाति, दलित, बालबालिका, अपाङ्गता र वृद्धवृद्धाहरूले सबैभन्दा बढी भार वहन गर्नु परेको छ। कार्बन उत्सर्जनमा हाम्रो योगदान नगर्ने हुँदाहुँदै पनि आफूले सिर्जना नगरेको जलवायु सङ्कटको सम्पूर्ण प्रहार हामीले बेहोर्दै आएका छौँ। कठिन चुनौतीहरूका बावजुद पनि हाम्रो आफ्नो जलवायु नेतृत्वमा नेपाल दृढ रहेको छ। जलवायु कार्यलाई राष्ट्रिय योजनामा समाहित गर्दै हामीले न्याय केन्द्रित दृष्टिकोणलाई अगालेका छौँ। हाम्रो अभिवृद्ध राष्ट्रिय रूपमा निर्धारित योगदान एनडिसी विश्वव्यापी लक्ष्यभन्दा 5 वर्ष अगाडि सन् 2045 भित्र खुद शून्य कार्बन उत्सर्जन हासिल गर्ने लक्ष्य परिलक्षित छ। आजै मात्र सम्माननीय प्रधानमन्त्री केपी शर्मा ओलीज्यूको हातबाट एनडीसी सार्वजनिक भएको छ र हामीले बीटीआर पनि अन्तिम चरणमा पुर्याएर बीटीआर को पनि हामी तयारीमा छौं। हाम्रा राष्ट्रिय जलवायु परिवर्तन नीति र राष्ट्रिय अनुकूलन योजनाले कृषि ऊर्जा, पानी पूर्वाधार र जैविक विविधता केन्द्रित क्षेत्रीय रणनीतिहरू सहित जलवायु समानुकूल तर्फ स्पष्ट मार्गचित्र प्रस्तुत गरेका छन्। महत्त्वपूर्ण हुँदाहुँदै पनि अक्सर उपेक्षित रहेका महिला, आदिवासी तथा युवाहरूको आवाजलाई जलवायु बहसमा सुनिश्चित गर्दै स्थानीय अनुकूलन कार्ययोजनालाई विकृत आधारभूत खाका समेत स्थानीय जलवायु कार्यको अगुवाईमा स्थानीय सरकारवालाहरूलाई सशक्त बनाइएको पनि अवस्था छ। जलवायु परिवर्तन सम्बन्धी संयुक्त राष्ट्र सङ्घीय संरचना महासन्धि UNFCCC, क्योटो प्रोटोकल र पेरिस सम्झौताका पक्ष राष्ट्रको रूपमा नेपाल आफ्नो प्रतिबद्धतामा अविचलित रहेको छ। तर हामी एक्लैले केही गर्न सक्दैनौँ। जलवायु लक्ष्य हासिल गर्नमा विश्व समुदायको सहयोग र जिम्मेवारी आवश्यक छ। साझा तर भिन्न दायित्व र सम्बन्धित क्षमताको सिद्धान्तले हामीलाई र पहुँचेकै हुनुपर्दछ। नेपाल जस्ता जोखिममा रहेका मुलुकहरूको ऋणको भार थप गर्ने गरी सन् 2020 मा 70% भन्दा बढी जलवायु वित्त ऋणमा आएको थियो। अब हामी नेपाल र हानि नोक्सानीको सम्बोधन कुनै दान होइन, यो जलवायु न्याय हो। नेपालले कार्बन बजारलाई अवसरको रूपमा हेर्छ र यो निष्पक्षता, वातावरणीय निष्ठा र स्थानीय समुदायमा प्रत्यक्ष लाभ सुनिश्चित गर्ने सिद्धान्तद्वारा परिलक्षित हुनुपर्दछ। हिमालहरू विश्वव्यापी जलवायु केन्द्रका केन्द्रबिन्दु हुन्। तसर्थ नेपाल UNFCCC अन्तर्गत हिमाल र हिमण्डलका लागि विश्वव्यापी मैत्रीपूर्ण गठबन्धनका निमित्त आह्वान गर्दछ। हामीले विश्वव्यापी जलवायु र विकास ढाँचाभित्र हिमालहरूले प्रदान गर्ने महत्त्वपूर्ण पारिस्थितिक प्रणालीहरू, सेवाहरूका संरक्षण सुनिश्चित गर्दै सोको पहिचान, सम्मान र पुरस्कृत गर्ने कार्य यथार्थमा आधारित हुनुपर्दछ। यसैका लागि पूर्व चेतावनी पहललाई तीव्र रूपमा हिमाली क्षेत्रहरूमा पुर्याउनु पर्दछ। सशक्त जोखिम मूल्याङ्कन, निरन्तर अनुगमन र भविष्यमूलक अनुकूलन पूर्व प्रमुख रणनीतिहरू हुनुपर्दछ। हामीले पारिस्थितिक प्रणालीको सुरक्षा र भावी पुस्ताको हितलाई सुनिश्चित गर्दै लचिलो खालको हिमाली समुदायको निर्माण गर्नुपर्दछ। धन्यवाद। नमस्कार।
Thank you, Excellency. Now I request a very capable MC to kindly do a very short synopsis of His Excellency's delivery, and the full translated text will be available on our website.
Thank you very much, Madam Chair. Thank you, Honourable Minister. Our Honourable Minister highlighted Nepal's unwavering commitment to strengthening its policies to drive sustainable growth and climate resilience. Recognizing the pressing challenges faced by our nation, he emphasized the urgent need for robust and forward-looking policies that prioritize environmental conservation, sustainable development, and economic stability. He also stressed that true progress is not achieved in isolation. Nepal's journey towards sustainable development must be a collective effort, one that brings together government, private sector, international partners, and local communities together. By working hand in hand with global allies, Nepal aims to harness innovation, share best practices, and create impactful solutions that benefit not just the nation, but the entire world. The Minister's address served as a powerful reminder that with the right policies, strong partnership, and a united vision, Nepal and the world can pave a way for a resilient and prosperous future. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Samiksha. Now I would like to request Her Excellency Baroness Susan Heyman, Parliamentary Under Secretary of State, United Kingdom, for her statement, followed by the United Arab Emirates. Madam, the floor is yours.
Foreign Minister Dioba, Environment Minister Takuri, Honourable Ministers, Excellencies, distinguished and expert delegates, colleagues and friends. It is a great privilege to be here in Kathmandu for the Sagarmatha Sambaad, and thank you for such a warm welcome to this wonderful country. The UK and Nepal have been friends for many years, and for the last 100 of those years, our friendship has been formalised by treaty. As the Honourable President of Nepal put it, when welcoming the Duke and Duchess of Edinburgh to Kathmandu earlier this year, Nepal is the UK's oldest ally in Asia. Our unique relationship has matured into a modern development partnership grounded in solidarity and in mutual respect. This is one I am keen to see deepen, particularly in the face of shared global challenges, which is precisely what we're here to do today. Nepal has long led efforts to raise awareness of the threats facing mountain ecosystems. This dialogue, as well, is timely, taking place as we prepare for COP30 in Brazil. The theme, From Mountains to Sea, is compelling. It reminds us that the impacts of climate change are connected across geographies, sectors, and societies. Nepal contributes only 0.04% of global greenhouse gas emissions, yet it is among the countries most exposed to the effects of a changing climate. The Hindu Kush Himalaya region supports nearly 1.9 billion people downstream. Its glaciers are retreating at alarming rates, now melting 65% faster than a decade ago. And Nepal's rivers contribute up to 70% of the Ganges dry season flow. This sustains agriculture, energy, and daily life across South Asia. Its forests, watersheds, and ecosystems are a cornerstone of regional climate and water security. And the stakes are rising. The floods of September 2024 caused economic losses exceeding 45 billion Nepali rupiah. These shocks will only intensify as temperatures rise, monsoons shift, and high-risk glacial lakes increase in number. And at the same time, air pollution is accelerating glacier melt and harming public health. In Kathmandu alone, 12% of residents suffer from chronic respiratory illness, and countrywide, over 42,000 premature deaths annually are linked to air pollution. Tackling these pollutions is a vital part of Nepal's climate and health response, and progress is possible. The UK supports Nepal's advocacy for access to climate finance and the recognition that adaptation in upstream countries is a global responsibility. And Nepal's challenges are interconnected. Climate, nature, development, and health are not separate issues. Over 80% of rural households depend on springs for water, yet they're drying up. Biodiversity is under pressure, communities are being displaced, and institutions are being stretched. But Nepal is not passive in the threat of these threats. It's committed to net zero by 2045, adopted a climate budget code that directs 35% of public spending to climate-related actions and requires that 80% of climate finance be spent at local level. These are powerful signals of political will, and the UK is proud to stand alongside Nepal in delivering on them. And we have a portfolio of work focused on adaptation with Nepal, on mitigation, health and inclusive development, the Resilience, Adaptation and Inclusion in Nepal programme, the Green Growth Nepal programme supporting low-carbon, climate-resistant development, and the Sagarmatha programme building stronger systems for climate and health. The UK is working to improve access to the Green Climate Fund, to pilot carbon market approaches, and to mobilise investment in sectors like clean transport, waste and energy. It is an honour to be here today representing the UK. We look forward to continuing our partnership, not only in traditional development, but right across the climate and nature agendas. We remain committed to supporting Nepal as it strengthens its institutions, protects its ecosystems, and delivers for its people. Together, we will move from dialogue to delivery. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Excellency. Now, may I invite the next speaker, His Excellency Abdullah Balala, Assistant Minister for Energy and Sustainability Affairs of the United Arab Emirates, to make his statement, followed by India.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, honored hosts, Assalamu alaikum. It is wonderful to join you in Kathmandu for this historic first edition of Sagarmatha Sambaad. I convey the sincere appreciation and the greetings of His Highness Sheikh Abdullah bin Zayed Al Nahyan, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs of the United Arab Emirates. We extend our deepest thanks to the Government of Nepal, to Your Excellency, and to the people of Nepal for convening this vital dialogue at the roof of the world. The name Sagarmatha, which is the Nepali name for Mount Everest, reminds us of what is truly elevated in this world, not just peaks, but principles. Resilience, harmony with nature, intergenerational duty, and the pursuit of common good. Today, as we gather under the shadow of the Himalayas, we are reminded that what happens to glaciers do not stay in the mountains. Mountains are not only a vital source of water, biodiversity, and culture, they are also powerful indicators of our planet's health. What happens on the peaks today will shape the fate of the valleys and coastlines tomorrow. As glaciers melt, they feed rising seas. As slopes become unstable, landslides follow. Disrupted weather patterns bring droughts, floods, and food insecurity to communities near and far. In every sense, the fate of our mountains is intertwined with the future of humanity. Excellencies, although the UAE is not predominantly a mountainous country by geography, we are defined by a deep respect for nature. Climate change anywhere in the world carries consequences for all economies, and the UAE as a global hub for trade and innovation and resilience is no exception. Our mountain range straddling the Eastern Arabian Peninsula plays a vital role in sustaining biodiversity, preserving cultural heritage, and securing water resources in one of the most arid regions on Earth. This gives us a profound understanding of the risks faced by mountain communities and the shared purpose in amplifying their voices in global climate governance. It was from this same conviction to ensure no vulnerable community is left unheard or unsupported that the UAE helped drive a historic breakthrough at COP28 in Dubai, the operationalization of the Fund for Responding Loss and Damage. The UAE is proud to have been one of the first and largest contributors with $100 million to jumpstart the fund's life-saving work in supporting the most vulnerable. We made this commitment not out of symbolism, but out of solidarity. We believe no community, mountain, island, or lowland should face climate devastation alone or unaided. We recognize that mountain ecosystems are underfinanced and undervalued, despite their critical role in sustaining water security, biodiversity, and cultural heritage. The UAE is actively connecting private capital to high-impact adaptation, resilience, and nature-based solutions across fragile geographies. At the heart of these efforts lies the UAE Framework for Global Climate Resilience, a unifying approach launched to strengthen climate resilience worldwide and safeguard the most vulnerable. This framework reflects the UAE commitment to ensuring that no ecosystem or community is left behind as we transition towards a climate-secure future. We welcome mountain nations to work with us and regional finance institutions to develop the required financing tools that can respond to this important matter. As the host country of the 2026 United Nations Water Conference, co-chaired with Senegal, the UAE invites all nations represented here to help shape a global water agenda that includes glaciers, groundwater, and cross-ecosystem coordination. The water that flows from your peaks sustain our valleys. The fate of snow melt is the fate of food security, energy system, and human health. This conference will be a platform to unique mountain, coastal, and desert nations behind the shared blueprint for water resilience. The UAE calls for a new South-South partnership for mountain and arid regions, bringing together states across Asia, Africa, and Latin America who shared the burdens of climate-induced water stress, biodiversity loss, and extreme weather. We believe that the highest summits are not those we stand upon, but those we rise towards together. The UAE stands ready to partner with all states represented here. Let Sagarmatha Sambaad mark not just a moment of reflection, but a turning point for action, where the mountains inspire momentum and where climate justice is scaled from the peaks to the people. We have the tools, we have the science, and we have the collective ingenuity to change course. And remember, when we safeguard the mountains, we safeguard our shared homes. Thank you, Shukriya, Dhanabad.
Thank you, Excellency, for your statement. May I now invite His Excellency, Mr. Amandeep Garg, Assistant Minister, Government of India, for his statement, followed by the State of Qatar after this.
Honorable Chair, Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, Namaste and a very good afternoon to all of you. Sagarmatha Sambaad, situated in the lap of the majestic Himalayas, offers an unparalleled opportunity to strengthen our shared regional and global resolve towards mountain sustainability and climate resilience. The theme of our discussion today resonates deeply with India. The Himalayas, our formidable sentinels and source of life-giving rivers, face unprecedented challenges. The future of these mountains is inextricably linked with the future of humanity, not just in our region, but globally. What happens in these ecosystems impacts biodiversity, agricultural systems, and the livelihoods of millions downstream. It is fitting that this conference will have a number of parallel scientific sessions covering a wide range of specific themes that will be discussed by a number of experts and other stakeholders over the next few days. While looking forward to these deliberations, I would like to note some common guiding principles that emerge from our perspective. In the light of global experience of more than 3 decades of UNFCCC, our great achievement in the convention was the articulation of principles of equity and common but differentiated responsibilities and respective capabilities. In the Paris Agreement, we added the principle of climate justice. Since then, it has been a long effort to implement and operationalize these principles. The developed countries' emissions have led to disproportionate share of global carbon budget being appropriated by a very few, while the majority of developing countries still have a long way to go in meeting their basic needs and priorities, let alone their aspirations for well-being. This is why the UNFCCC commitment that developed countries would take the lead is extremely important. Climate finance is among the most important commitment made by the developed countries under the UNFCCC and its Paris Agreement. Climate finance for adaptation and even more for mitigation has to be publicly sourced, predictable, and accessible based on the needs articulated by the developing countries. Further, increased ambition is necessary, but it has to be based on equity and CBDR and RC, without which it does not carry much meaning. Excellencies, dear friends, despite these formidable challenges, India, under the visionary leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister, has embarked decisively on addressing climate change. Our commitment is not merely rhetorical, but backed by concrete action and achievements. In particular, among many initiatives, recognizing the unique vulnerabilities of Himalayan region, India launched National Mission for Sustaining Himalayan Ecosystem under our National Action Plan on Climate Change. India has championed initiatives like Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana, providing clean cooking fuel to 103 million rural households, thereby reducing indoor air pollution and pressure on forest resources in the mountain regions. The Soil Health Card Scheme, which provides vital information to the farmers on the nutrient status of the soil, supports 10 million farmers to improve the soil health and fertility. In the end, I would like to say that the future of humanity depends upon how we collectively address the climate change and safeguard our mountains. This requires a paradigm shift towards green development, sustainable consumption, and climate justice. Let us work together with a sense of urgency and shared responsibility to ensure that these magnificent peaks continue to inspire awe and sustain life for generations to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Excellency, for your statement. I would now like to invite His Excellency Badar Omar El Dafa, Special Envoy for Climate Change, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, State of Qatar, for the statement, followed by Kyrgyz Republic. Excellency, you have the floor.
Assalamu alaikum. Excellency the Foreign Minister, Excellencies, esteemed colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. First, I would like to extend my thanks to the esteemed Foreign Minister of Nepal for this gracious invitation to this important conference on climate change, mountains, and the future of humanity. It is a privilege to be here in Nepal, a nation of breathtaking beauty and a profound ecological significance. Qatar, my country, despite its desert environment, recognizes the urgent global challenge of climate change and is actively contributing solutions. We have embarked on an ambitious path outlined in our National Climate Change Action Plan 2030, with a firm target of reducing greenhouse gas emission by 25%. By 2027, Qatar aims to expand its LNG production to 127 million tons annually to replace high-polluting fuels like oil and coal and use clean energy. Furthermore, we are making substantial investments in renewable energy sources and pioneering carbon capture and storage technologies to diversify the energy mix and mitigate our environment impact. Qatar has successfully designed two sustainable smart cities, Lusail City and Msheireb Downtown, which were designed to optimize sustainable urban planning through the application of world-class environmental standards. Qatar is highly committed to producing the most innovative and organic research projects, which is the way countries has invested in world-renowned environment institutions such as Qatar Science and Technology Park, Qatar Environment and Energy Research Institute. We also deeply praise Nepal's proactive and dedicated efforts in addressing the impact of climate change, particularly within your fragile mountain ecosystem. Your commitment to developing and implementing the National Adaptation Plan, focusing on vital sectors such as agriculture, water resources management, and disaster risk reduction, showcase a strong national resolve to protect your communities and natural heritage. Given its long ties with Nepal, Qatar stands ready to collaborate and share knowledge as well as collective strive for the sustainable future for all. Thank you again for this opportunity, and I wish best in this conference.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Excellency. Now I would like to invite Her Excellency Ms. Dinara Kemelova, Special Representative of the President of Kyrgyzstan, for implementation of 5 years of action for development of mountain regions of the Kyrgyz Republic, for the statement, followed by Brazil.
Your Excellency, Honorable Dr. Arzurana Deba, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Nepal, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to express my deep gratitude to Government of Nepal for hosting this meaningful Sagarmatha Sambaad event and warm hospitality. I commend Nepal for its efforts in promoting the mountain and climate change agenda. This is the second time of my visit to Nepal. 1 year ago, Nepalese government organized expert dialogue on mountain, people and climate change in Kathmandu. And last year, during COP29, President of Kyrgyzstan, Sadir Japarov, participated in high-level session addressing climate-induced loss and damage in mountainous regions, hosted by Nepal President Ramchandra Paudel. At the same time, Kyrgyzstan, with Azerbaijan presidency of COP29 and Mongolia, organized a high-level dialogue mainstreaming the mountain agenda and climate change in the framework of UNFCCC, with participation of President of Nepal and other distinguished delegates. These events contributed to advancing mountain agenda because mountain communities are among the most vulnerable to the impact of climate change, facing melting glaciers, water insecurity, land degradation, and economic marginalization of mountain communities. Addressing these challenges requires solidarity, innovation, urgent and transformative action. In this regard, the Kyrgyz Republic initiated and implements the 5 years of action for the development of mountain regions for 2023 and 2027, endorsed by UN General Assembly resolution. This is not only a national priority, it is an international call for stronger cooperation, knowledge exchange, and investing to the resilience of mountain communities and ecosystems. Just last month, in April, we hosted the Global Mountain Dialogue for Sustainable Development in Bishkek, with participation of more than 50 countries and 29 international organizations. This conference marked a major milestone on the road to the Bishkek Plus 25 summit, scheduled for 2027, as the culminating event of the 5 years of action plan for the development of mountain regions. It is not only reinforced global solidarity around the challenge of sustainable mountain development, but also laid the groundwork for concrete international action. During the conference, the President of the Kyrgyz Republic proposed a set of ambitious initiatives to elevate the mountain agenda in the global level. These include, first, establishing a fund for mountain countries' development. We advocate for targeted financing for needs of mountain regions to implement programs on climate change adaptation and resilience with a focus on glaciers, forests, addressing mountain land degradation and biodiversity loss, increasing preparedness for natural disasters, and social economic support for mountain communities, especially women and children. Second, creating UN coordinated mechanism, UN Mountains. Third, launching an international platform on mountain youth, women and climate. In this regard, we continue to advocate for the creation of the broad coalition of mountainous countries and sustaining global mountain dialogue. Alongside with a group of friends of mountain countries in New York, the Mountain Partnership under the FAO in Rome, we have launched a mountain group in the framework of the UNFCCC, which counts today 9 state parties. We invite those countries which have not done so yet to join to this group. Today, as we look ahead of COP30, the Kyrgyz Republic, together with several mountain nations, is promoting a declaration on climate change, mountains and glaciers. We believe this declaration can become a shared voice for those whose lives and culture are shaped by highland ecosystems. We sincerely hope Nepal and other countries will join to this declaration. Dear friends, in order to continue our global mountain dialogue and mainstreaming mountain agenda and climate change, we invite you to participate in World Mountain Youth Festival in Kyrgyzstan in August this year, and Mountain International Conference next spring in New York in UN headquarters in 2026, which will be followed by second Global Mountain Summit in Kyrgyzstan in 2027. We hope that you will join and contribute in turning our shared concerns into collective solutions. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Madam, for your statement. Now I would like to request His Excellency Mr. Carlos Alberto Michelson Den Hartog, Ambassador of the Federal Republic of Brazil, to deliver his statement, followed by Egypt.
Honorable Dr. Arzu Rana Deuba, Minister of Foreign Affairs, Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, first, let me congratulate the government of Nepal on convening the first Sagarmatha Sambaad Forum and wish it complete success. As all of you know, Brazil is now preparing for COP30, which will take place in November 2025 in the city of Belém, Pará State, located within the Brazilian Amazon region. On March 10th, the President-designate of COP30, Ambassador André Correia do Lago, released his first letter to the international community presenting the Brazilian vision of COP30. The letter establishes the path that will lead to the definition of priorities for the conference. A broad consultation process will enable the identification of deliverables that combine ambition and feasibility in a highly challenging geopolitical context. Brazilian presidency of COP30 is working to define expectations for the 4 dimensions of the conference: meeting of head of state and government, formal negotiations, action agenda, and public mobilization. It's a quite long letter already delivered by our embassies to all parties of the convention. And so I will just mention 4 of its key points. The first one is the need to protect and expand cooperation in a context of serious institutional fragility of the climate regime. The COP29 negotiations in Baku last year show strong signs of fraying and possible exhaustion of the multilateral negotiation process. Moreover, in November and December of 24, other UN negotiations on plastic, biodiversity, and desertification failed. COP29 achieved merely sufficient results, concluding the rules for the carbon market, the last pending negotiation for the complete regulation of the rule book of the Paris Agreement, and defining the new climate finance objective, the last remaining mandate of COP21 in Paris 2015. The second key point is the need to reverse the worrying trend of unilateralism and fragmentation of cooperation. Therefore, COP30 constitutes an opportunity to consolidate the legacy of multilateral negotiations, avoid institutional and international law setbacks, and ensure that multilateralism and international cooperation remains the cornerstone of the global response to climate change. Brazil believes that COP30 must mark the transition to the post-negotiation phase of the Convention, in which we refocus our efforts on action and implementation and on increasing the efficiency of the UNFCCC process to enhance ambition and concrete implementation of decisions. In that context, the COP30 presidency will organize some groups, the Circle of Presidencies, Circles of Indigenous Leadership, Global Ethical Stocktaking, Special Councils of Scientists and Economists, and a group of special envoys. The third key point, the importance of connecting the abstraction of negotiations with real life. As the global warming intensifies, climate changes increasingly impact the daily lives of people, governments, societies, and economies. A collective effort should reinforce precisely the centrality of climate action and put promises into practice. Accelerating the implementation of the Paris Agreement that depends on coordination and structural adjustment beyond the Convention of Climate Change. The Paris Agreement is working, but not fast enough. Accelerating and scaling results depends on the size of actions that go far beyond the Climate Convention, including levers for the broad and rapid dissemination of financial, technological, and capacity-building resources, as well as structural change in international governance and financial system, especially to increase fiscal space and reduce the cost of capital in developing countries. But Brazil hopes that the COP30 will leave a legacy of a granary of solutions in the areas of forest, mountains, energy, transportation, cities, agriculture, and livestock,